All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, everyone, from the X Zone Broadcast Center here in St. Catharines. And we're coming to you tonight on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on Classic 1220 CFAJ, www.classic1220.ca. My guest to this hour, X Zone Nation, is Jim Andre, and Jim and I are going to be discussing UFO, extraterrestrials, and energetic healer. And healing. So, Jim, first of all, welcome to the X Zone, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who haven't had the opportunity of hearing you in the past?
Sure. I'm a retired Massachusetts constable and motor coach bus driver. I've relocated to Lake Wales, Florida since retiring. I had an experience of an alien abduction in the late fall of 2012 while still living in Massachusetts. I was actually beside myself when this occurred. I didn't know what to make of it. I distinctly remember it was on a Wednesday night, and I was about to go onto my computer, and being a motor coach bus driver, I'd have to get up early in the morning to go to work, so I took a notice to what the time was at the lower right-hand corner of the computer monitor, with the thought that I had to get up early for work, and it said 9:15 p.m. So I sat in the chair, and then all of a sudden, I just went out. Whatever occurred, and I was like waking up about, I don't know, I'm about almost 5 hours later, still sitting in front of the computer, and I was like in a daze looking around the room. I glanced over at the alarm clock and it said 2:57 a.m. And at that point, I started feeling an intense burning sensation on my right forearm. And I know this sounds bizarre. I looked, and there's an alien gray tattooed on my forearm. I didn't really know what to make of it. I had to psychologically work myself through this for over a year before I could even come out and speak about it. And that's the story of the abduction. And since then, I've been connected to the Zeta Reticuli, which is the short alien grays. And I get periodic telepathic downloads from them. And I know it sounds bizarre, but that's what occurred.
Why do you think that you were selected to have this contact initiated, as well as being tattooed by the ETs?
I've often asked myself that question, and it's something that I would like to know, but I also come to the conclusion that I think all information will unfold when it's supposed to.
I understand that you were born, your birthday is on the day of the Betty and Barney Hill abduction.
Well, no, it wasn't on the same day. That abduction occurred on my 8th birthday.
On your 8th birthday. Do you think there's a correlation there?
I do, because since childhood I've had like a vague memory of something. It's hard to explain, like when you got something on the tip of your tongue, you just can't grasp it.
Are you still being visited today?
I haven't had any visitations per se, but I've had communication downloads, telepathic downloads.
And what kind of downloads are the ET sending you, Jim?
Well, it's hard to explain. It's not like a language, but it's It's like a code type thing that it sort of like bounces out in a memory type form. Um, for example, the Georgia Guidestones that were sabotaged,
Yeah.
they were actually sabotaged by the Zeta Reticuli themselves with a laser from one of their spacecrafts. And that was for them to send a message to the 1%, or the Illuminati, the Cabal, whatever you want to refer to them as, that they know what they're up to. And they don't like the idea of them using the Hadron Collider, the colliding, atom-smashing colliding collider that they have in search of the God particle, per se, because they don't know what they're playing with. So, in other words, when them Georgia Guidestones were sabotaged, it was on July 5th, 2022, the same day they were going to reboot the collider for further experimentation. So the message is sent to the 1% is to not use that collider. And if they don't cease and desist, the collider itself will be destroyed next.
Why is that? What is the danger that the ETs are so interested in the experimentation?
Well, because they don't know what they're playing with. In other words, they're smashing atoms every time they do an added experiment. They increase the power. They could open up a portal. They could rip or bend the fabric of space. One theory is that the universe began with a Big Bang.
Right.
Who says that it can't end with one?
So the ETs are doing this in order to protect their species and the other species of the of existence.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly. I will say that there will be alien intervention, not to save man himself, per se, not to save man from himself, but to save Mother Earth from man, save nature itself from man, actually.
Jim,
See,
what? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This attitude.
Go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
Man, that's all right. Man's got this attitude that the Earth belongs to him, when in reality, man belongs to the Earth.
Wow, that's heavy.
Yep.
So, what is the purpose of the Illuminati for those listeners who may have no concept of who the Illuminati are or what?
Well, the thing is, I mean, this all ties into everything, really. I mean, including religion. And I mean, when we're born, we're not really born free. We're born onto a society that's going to indoctrinate us. At birth, we're issued a birth certificate, a social security number.
Mm-hmm.
They keep track of us from birth throughout our whole lives. So, I mean, we become a ward of the state. So we're prone to the formation of society. Society indoctrinates us, informs and shapes us into what they want us to become.
Jim, how has your experiences with the ETs changed any religious viewpoints that you may have had?
Okay, well, for example, the Bible, I'm not putting the Bible down.
I understand
don't knock
that.
anybody that believes in the Bible or everything that the Bible might say, but the fact is, man, God is not a man dwelling in the clouds with a long beard.
Right.
God is an energy. It's an energy source. I refer to it as the universal energy. It's an energy that makes all things possible within existence itself. So, that being said, well, even the Bible states that we're made in God's image, right?
Exactly.
So what we're capable of, so is God, or gods per se. I mean, there's beliefs in thousands of gods, which would lead to the question, will the real God please stand up? Right? So...
Yeah, especially since we know that the first 4 books of the Bible were actually written by Moses, and there's a lot of conjecture on who, what, when, where, why all this was done. when you look at the scientific possibilities as relate to us in the Bible, they just don't make sense.
Oh, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of things in the Bible that don't make sense, that leaves you with more questions than answers. God is a good and loving God, a forgiving God.
Mm.
But yet the Bible states that he's killed millions by floods, going against one of his Ten Commandments. Right?
Yeah, and then of course you've got the devastation of Sodom and Gomorrah, and then you have the
Right.
closing of the Red Sea, and so many
Right.
other examples that, if you look at it, the God of the Old Testament is not a kind, forgiving God, and yet the God of the New Testament, totally different.
Exactly. And another thing is, if you sin, don't do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
You'll be condemned to eternal damnation, which could be scarier than the concept of Satan himself.
I remember as a child questioning the story of Adam and Eve, and then they had two sons. One son killed the other son and crossed the mountains, crossed the desert to a town where he found a wife. Now, my question to my minister was...
Right, he went to the land of Nod and
Yeah.
married a blacksmith's wife. So where did the blacksmith and the wife come from, right?
Exactly. And I was called the son of Satan by the local minister, and my mother was called and said, your son is the son of the devil. Just for asking questions that, in my opinion, need to be answered.
Well, see, the thing is, the biggest deception is that there's a separation. In other words, they divide it, good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then they label an icon to it, like a god or a devil.
Right.
When in reality, it's all one. See, God is everything. So therefore, God is the good, the bad, and the ugly. There is no separation.
Jim, what do you think the purpose of life is?
The purpose of life is an experience. Okay, I've been taught that life is a journey to be experienced, or not a problem to be solved.
Who taught you that, Jim?
Well, this is what I get from the Zetas. I mean,
I see.
Since my abduction, my view on life, purpose and the universe itself has completely changed from what it used to be.
I can understand that and appreciate that. Jim, stand by. We've got to take our first break. Exonation, my guest this hour is Jim Andre. His website is, are you ready for this, Exonation? JimAndre.net. That's JimAndre.net. And Jim and I will be back on the other side of this short commercial break as the X-Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and now also on Classic 1220 CFAJ at www.classic1220.ca. The X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. This is a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday on a variety of schedules around the world. But one thing you can always be certain of, X-Zone Nation, here is where we search for the answers, but demand the truth. Jim Andre and I will be back on the other side of this very short break. Whatever you do, don't go away.
Western Bay, and it serves 100 ships a day. Lonely sailors pass the time away and talk about their homes. And there's a girl in this harbor town and she works, laying whiskey down. They say, Brandy, fetch another round. She serves them whiskey and wine.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'm going to get it straight this time. You're listening to the X-Zone radio and TV show on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. And now on Classic 1220 CFAJ at www.classic1220.ca. Jim Andre is my special guest. His website is Jim Andre. That's JIMANDRE.net. Jim, there's a lot of talk these days about parallel universes, parallel dimensions, the multi-dimensional aspects of existence. What is your take on all of this?
Multiverses, yeah, I believe that's possible. It's all got to do with density. And my belief is there's a thin veil between them. Just like, there's a thin line between sanity and insanity, life and death itself.
Mm-hmm. Based on what you've been told by the ETs who channel through you, why don't they just land and make themselves known to each and every one of us?
Well, that's coming. That's going to be inevitable. That's the only way that they'll have to intervene in that manner in order, not exactly like I said, not to save man from man himself, but to save Mother Earth from man. Because, how we carry ourselves and what we do can have a profound effect on them as well. So that's going to be the deal there. It's not because they actually have any interest or our interest in mind, but, they realize that we're not, you see, they would have landed a long time ago, but they realize that we're a type of species that are not good to ourselves. Okay, we have no one to compete against but ourselves, no one to fear but ourselves. So if we treat ourselves in such a manner, how do you figure or think we're gonna treat them?
What are, I would imagine they're monitoring Earth very closely. And I was wondering, Jim, through any communications that you might have had with them, what are their feelings and what are their views about all the hoopla that we're putting into the investigation of their existence, and what do they think of the congressional hearings that we've recently had?
Well, I'll tell you what I think of them congressional hearings. I mean, the government is known for decades that extraterrestrials exist. They've known that firsthand. They wanted to keep that hush-hush all them years. And to be honest with you, my personal opinion is that they're starting to trickle out the information that, yes, it's very possible that these ETs do exist. There is certainly unidentified flying objects that we can't identify. And the reason for that is, with the advanced technology they have today with holograms, what they're leading up to is going to be a future false flying alien invasion. All right. They're going to have holographic images of spacecraft, alien craft in the sky, shooting weapons when in reality, the weaponry will be being fired by the military-industrial complex itself.
So you're saying that this holographic invasion is going to be perpetrated by the military complex here and not the ETs? Correct. But why would they want to do that, Jim?
Well, what their goal is to... But their agenda is to eliminate 95% of the world population, which, by the way, them Georgia Guidestones are referred to. It was written on the monographs there on the stones of the Georgia Guidestones.
But who's actually going to do the annihilation of the 95% of the occupants of Earth? Is it going to be the Illuminati? Is it going to be the New World Order? Is it going to be...
you call it the cabal or call it whatever you want. It's those who are in control. Who's in control? Well, who's in control? It trickles down from the Vatican to the royalties in Europe to certain world leaders and big corporations. The ones with the money, that's who is in control.
So you really believe that the Vatican is at the top of all of this?
Oh, I'm sure of it.
How can you be so sure, Jim? I'm not doubting you. I'm just trying to understand how you're so sure about this, because I can hear the conviction in your voice.
Well, I don't like to get into this too deep, but Mother Teresa herself was a child trafficker.
Okay.
They had access to children in third world countries, and it's not unknown that Catholic priests throughout the years molested altar boys. So what the Vatican does in essence is practice evil under the guise of good. And they're so rich, they got more money than any country in the world. They're richer than God, pardon the pun. So with that kind of money, they have a lot of control. And how this all ties in is with the United Nations itself. It's one big organization and one big clique. Those are the ones who are in control.
So if we look at this scenario, it would seem that this goes back way to the very beginning, that this was planned from day one. This was planned during the inception of the Bible.
Well, like I was saying before, indoctrinated by society.
Right.
When you're born into a religious society from birth, there's no greater brainwashing than that.
I've always said that one of the aspects of religion is control.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. Fear and control. Yeah. Well, they use that as a fear tactic, a tool.
And they being those who practice religious theologies.
Right. So basically what we see today is them playing out by design the prophecy of the Bible itself to brainwash the majority even further.
They're following the script.
Exactly.
Jim, I've had a number of guests on the show over the 30 plus years that we've been broadcasting. And whoever I talk to when it comes to ETs always have a different number of how many ET species there are, where they're from, what they're doing. In your opinion, Jim, because you've got the direct chain to the ETs, how many different alien species are there that visit this planet?
Well, I would say there's many of them. I would say about 60 some odd species.
Wow.
Don't forget we're in an endless universe, so that keeps expanding, by the way.
So I can fully understand why the ETs are so upset about the experimentation and the splitting of the atom and so on and so forth, because it would have an intergalactic ripple effect should anything happen here.
Exactly, the domino effect.
Yeah.
In other words, if the Earth itself got destroyed or a portal would open up, say the Earth disintegrated, that would in fact that would negate the Earth's gravity field, which then would have a domino effect on the rest of our solar system and galaxy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that would have a domino effect and put them in danger as well.
When it comes to communication with ETs, Jim, and the experiences that some people report, why are the aliens abducting so many people?
Well, some of it is for experimentation. I believe that we all have alien DNA in us. And we're actually created by a biological experiment by the extraterrestrials themselves. And once they created us, they set us free. They didn't abandon us. They've been monitoring us from a behind-the-scenes approach as to what our progress is. And let's put it this way, we're failing the test.
Man, there's proof of that everywhere you look these days. Are the aliens, in your opinion, responsible for the crop circles?
Yes. And within them crop circles, every design that we see has a meaning to it. It's like a code.
Something like an intergalactic QR code.
Right.
Over the years that you've been communicating with the ETs, has there anything that they have said or shown you one way or another that has just blown your mind?
Well, I mean, I think existence itself just blows my mind. It's just like I said, it's experience. It's a learning experience. You're born. See, other species are born slaves to survival. But when a human being is born, they're born with a double whammy. They're not only born a slave to survival, but a slave to society as well.
If we are here to learn a lesson or to experience life, where does this experience take us?
Well, I'm a firm believer in reincarnation. One law of nature is nothing lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that does last forever is that God energy, the source, the essence. That's infinite. So, and if you want to learn, the best teacher there is nature itself. Look around you. Everything exists in cycles.
Yes, that's
from
right.
Day and night. Yeah, from day and night, seasons to lifetimes. That's nature's way of that's nature's way of compensating for not lasting forever, is to exist in phases.
All right, but if reincarnation is constant, with the souls that come down in the form of a birth, and then, the moment we are born or conceived is the moment we actually start to die. Where does the
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Birth is the beginning of the end.
That's right. So where does the information that we gather, where does it go? Does it go into like a universal data bank that is shared with all entities, or is this just a singular experience that each and every one of us experience?
Well, I think you have to take everything into consideration. Everything in existence is the universe experiencing itself in a gazillion ways all at one time. So in other words, how else would the universe even know it existed if it were not through our eyes?
Good question. Please stand by, Jim. Nice talking to you tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. It's appreciated.
My pleasure.
Exonation, Jim Andre is our special guest. JimAndre.net is his website. And you're listening to the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and throughout Ontario and the northern part of the United States of America on our newest affiliate, and that is Classic 1220 CFAJ, right here in St. Catharines. Their website, check them out if you like the best of music at www.classic1220.ca.
And talk about their homes. And there's a girl in this harbor town, and she works laying whiskey down. They say, Brandy, fetch another round. She serves them whiskey and wine. The sailors say, Brandy.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. You're listening to us on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and on Classic 1220 CFAJ here in St. Catharines, Ontario. The website is www.classic1220.ca. Jim Andre is our special guest. And Jim, what about our intelligence? How do you understand it, or how can we understand it? How do the ETs understand it?
That's a good question. Well, For an example, the only place that the concept of good and evil exists is within the psyche of the human species. Millions of other species around us haven't had to deal with such a concept. I don't believe that God created man. I believe that man created the concept of God. Now, being a human species, we're never satisfied. For example, a cow grazing in a field is probably more than likely satisfied by doing just that, grazing in a field, but man, due to his higher level of intelligence, will never truly be satisfied until he self-annihilates.
Yeah, I can see that, because the way that I look at the earlier days is that when human beings needed to try to understand existence and the concept of what is surrounding them, that the Bible was written as kind of a guideline to give some understanding, some semblance of order. And the Ten Commandments were a kind of way of saying, look, we want to survive, we have to abide rules, regulations, and these are them because they were given by God himself to Moses. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, like, man, he has no one to compete against but himself, and no one to fear but himself. So, I mean, how intelligent is that? To me, that displays an intelligence which is somewhat flawed.
Which brings a question to the table, Jim. Where do you think mankind is going to be going with all this artificial intelligence that is being accessible to each and every one of us?
Well, I don't know. Well, once we get to that point, if there's no humans left and there's just artificial intelligence, what would be the meaning of existence without emotion?
I understand that, but how do you think that the lack of intelligence that humanity has shown will adapt or try to adapt or try to coexist with their own creation called artificial intelligence?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you create something that is that intelligent, how do we know that the IA won't destroy man himself?
In your opinion, should man try to integrate with, let me see, the artificial intelligence, or to have the very essence of man be put into something like a robot so that they could have life everlasting?
Well, I mean, how can you be put into a robot and still have the satisfaction of living with emotion?
I understand that, but there are those people out there who are trying this very, very hard because they don't want to die. They want to stay. They want to exist. They don't want to lose what they have. And if there's a way to transfer their essence into a robot or an artificial being, man, they're trying everything they can to do it.
And what if they get to that point and they decide, well, it's not like it was like I thought it would be, and they don't want to any longer be there, and then there's nothing they can do about it, and they're tormented throughout eternity.
That is a scary prospect, isn't it? When you're looking at the contacts that you've had with the ETs, have they talked to you about the pyramids and the building of the pyramids?
Yes, sir. That all transpired during the time of the island of Atlantis. The Anunnaki and other alien species came down here, as I stated before previously. Were an experimentation by the ETs themselves, a biological experimentation. They found that it was taking a while for man to advance intelligently, which we think we're intelligent, which we still need a lot of learning to do in that area. And what they did was they erected the island of Atlantis, and it served as a learning facility to jumpstart man's knowledge. That's when they taught us calculations, engineering, science, astrology. Them pyramids are put together with such precision that they cannot be duplicated by any scientists or architects or engineers with all the modern technology that we have today.
Is it possible,
And
Jim, that we weren't ready for all this knowledge at that time in our evolution?
yes, yes, maybe we should have taken more time. You see, we always debate the laws of man and the laws of God, while overlooking the most important laws of all, which is the laws of nature itself. Nature need not a creator, for nature has a way of creating, producing, sustaining, destroying, and rejuvenating itself.
What was Atlantis like? And where did it go? Where is it now?
While it was sunken, it was purposefully sunken in the Atlantic Ocean, actually in an area called the Puerto Rico Trench, which is one of the deepest parts of the Atlantic Ocean. I believe that's over 5 miles deep.
Isn't that part of the Bermuda Triangle?
I believe so, yes.
So that would explain a lot of the weird occurrences that happen there.
Uh-huh. And also, there's a lot of alien bases under the oceans.
You know, I don't understand why we're spending so much time exploring space when we haven't completed exploring this planet.
Exactly.
Where do you see the future of humanity, Jim?
Well, historically, throughout history, every great society that has risen has fallen. And our current day society is not going to be any different.
Just like to go back a little bit. We were talking about the ETs and the alien abduction scenarios. You know, that we've had cattle mutilations, we've had alien abductions. What are they trying to establish? You know, like if they are such a great and smart race, would they have not done the abductions, earlier in the development of humanity? Why now? Why continue the abductions if the human race hasn't changed as far as I know, as you know, with DNA and with the physiology of the human being? Why did they wait until now to start the abductions?
Well, I think this has been going on for a very long time. Don't forget now we have missing links from primitive man, Cro-Magnon man, all that, all the way up to where we are today. And the reason for them missing links is that was part of the ongoing experimentation that didn't live up to the extraterrestrials' expectations and were terminated when replaced by a newer version. And we are the newest version, the latest version of the experimentation. And I have to sadly add that we're the most lethal.
It almost seems that the aliens are playing God with us. Is it possible that the aliens are in fact God?
Well, no, I believe that they're just a part of creation itself, a part of nature as a whole.
What about angels? Are they the ETs?
An ET could possibly act as a guardian angel, but I believe there's other spirituality angels, spiritual angels that play a role in certain people's lives.
What about Bigfoot, Jim? Do you have any ideas or theories about Bigfoot?
I believe Bigfoot is, you could classify him as an alien species. He's interdimensional.
Wow. Have you had any experiences, first-hand experiences, with other aspects of the paranormal beside the ET agenda that you're part of?
Well, no, but the only thing I've had, which is quite mind-blowing for myself, is the ability to energetically heal others since my abduction.
How do you do that?
It's very simple, actually. I use a soundtrack that was actually arranged by the ETs themselves, with different sound frequencies. And I do the healing sessions over the internet, and I play that soundtrack with the healing frequencies. and I use a shungite stone.
What is that, Jim?
A shungite stone is a stone that's found only in one place on Earth, and that's in Russia. They use it to purify water, and it also emits an energetic frequency of its own. I can hook up a Ohms meter to it and put it on the frequency setting and touch the electrodes, and you can hear it. You can hear it give off a signal.
So basically, this is when you're doing your healing sessions, it's over the internet. And what kind of success do you have with it?
Oh, I have a pretty good track record. I mean, I've got people that can validate that. I've had a lot of friends on the internet. I've been on the internet for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've helped people with toothaches, migraine, headaches, even terminal illnesses.
Wow. Was this information also given to you by the ETs?
Yes.
It seems that they're very benevolent. They could have wiped us out many times if they wanted to.
Exactly, yes. If they didn't have our best interests in mind, I mean, with their advanced technology, they could have annihilated us a long time ago.
But yet they haven't. Do they have faith in us?
Well, like I said, that they're a part of what and who we are. So, you know, it's a question whether they want to look at themselves as a failure with the experiment itself. I mean, it gets very deep.
All right, so they don't want us to destroy ourselves by further continuation of experimentation at the Great Collider that is in Switzerland and part of the European Union.
Right.
They have the ability to heal us through people like yourself, through the knowledge that you've been given to them, by them, I should say.
Uh-huh.
And yet, the war machine keeps building up. We've got this massive problem in Israel right now, and Giza.
Yeah, that's all. It's all by design. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Look, let's talk about that on the other side of this break, Jim. And Exonation, Jim Andre is my guest on jimandre.net. And we'll both be back on the other side as we continue this fascinating conversation here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. And we're coming to you on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on Classic 1220 CFAJ here in St. Catharines, Ontario. Check out the great music on CFAJ and the personalities Pete Dichter, Chuck LaFleur, Danny Z, and many others. Great programming from a great station, Hometown Radio, classic1220.ca.
It's gonna hurt. Before I say another word, let me tell you I love you. Let me hold you close and say these words as gently as I can. There's been another man.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My guest this hour is Jim Andre. His website is jimandre.net. And we're coming to you around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on Classic 1220 CFAJ. And their website is www.classic1220.ca. First of all, Jim, thanks very much for joining us. Great pleasure talking to you. And I'm sure you have a lot of people listening to us tonight scratching their head and saying, "You got to be kidding, guys." Well, you know what? Jim isn't kidding. And if you'd like to find out more information about Jim, you can check out his website, jimandre.net, or his Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Jim Andre. Jim, tell us about the Alien Connection Truth Network.
Okay, since my abduction, I started that group in with the thought that I would make a platform for other people that may have experienced anything
Hmm.
similar to what I experienced, and use that as a forum where they could relate to what they experienced without, feeling like they're going to be ridiculed, or trolled upon. And actually, it's gone pretty good. It's a private group, and we've got about 116,000 members.
It's a place of safety for the experiencers.
Right.
These experiencers that are in your group, do they share the kind of contact that you've had?
Yes, some of them do, yeah. A lot of them are just curious as to what it's all about. But, yeah, I mean, there have been other experiences that have come through, yeah.
Could it be that the the members of your group who just join because they're curious, they themselves may have had the experiences but are not aware of that? And that by being members of your group, this all becomes conscious to them again?
Well, yeah, I believe that's possible, yeah. Because in a lot of abduction cases, that's exactly what happens. Their memory is somewhat limited as to what actually transpired.
It must be very scary for people who have the alien abduction scenario and then they start to remember.
Well, yeah, especially with the fact that they don't know who they can turn to actually talk about it
Yeah.
without being ridiculed.
It must be a life-altering experience.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it was for me, especially at first. I mean, I was beside myself for, like I said, quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about your experience, your tattoo, can you tell me more about that? Because that's very intriguing. I have never had a guest on the show, like I said, in the 30 some odd years I've been doing it, who've ever reported coming back from an experience with a tattoo.
Uh-huh. Well, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was really beside myself. And it sounds very bizarre. And if it didn't happen to me, I probably wouldn't believe it myself. But what it depicts is like the face of an alien gray.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got like a outline around it where there's like a space with stars and different designs. And like a highway and down below there with a horizon. And then you got the alien face above that with the outer cosmos around it.
Have you had the tattoo checked by members of the scientific community or even by somebody who is a professional tattoo artist to try and understand how this tattoo was actually done?
Well, right now I'm in touch with a gentleman that's a high-ranking official in MUFON, and I've been connected with him for quite some time. I've even done some podcasts with him
Right.
on the internet, and he's supposed to be hooking me up with somebody. I'd like to get a biologist or, some skin specialist
Sure.
to get a sample and maybe test the ink or whatever it is. And another fascinating aspect of this tattoo is a conventional tattoo will scab up like a scrape or an abrasion
Yeah.
when it heals, and it takes 7 to 10 days to heal. This particular tattoo never scabbed up, and it was like a boil, and when it healed, it peeled like a sunburn, never scabbed. It peeled like a sunburn, and it healed within 3 days.
Do you think it might have been done with a laser or some?
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly. That's my thought. Yeah. Because it was more like a burn than an abrasion.
Jim, as a motor coach driver, did you experience any UFO sightings?
Well, I've seen many UFO sightings. Yeah, I lived in an area up there in Massachusetts that's called the Bridgewater Triangle.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've heard of that.
Yeah, and within that area, within that triangle, there's the Freetown State Forest.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually lived about maybe 8 or 9 miles from there. And I used to frequent there, and I've seen a lot of paranormal activity in that area.
What kind of paranormal activity would there be there?
Well, UFOs, and there's been other things there like People have seen ghosts and sprites and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of paranormal activity that goes on in that area. I mean, there was cults there at one time. They found dead bodies here and there.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
How about when you were in law enforcement as a constable? Any paranormal experiences?
Well, that was the funny part. I was still actually, before I retired is when I came out with my abduction. And the funny thing was, my first actual interview was on a local cable TV station up in my area with an attorney that had a law firm that I did thousands of serves for as a constable. He was the host of the show that was interviewing me. So I came out with it at that point in time. And I was actually putting my reputation on the line when I did.
And how did it go, Jim?
It went very well, actually. It went very well.
In your experience, Jim, the abductions that are they done with people of all ages, all nationalities, all colors, all creeds?
I believe so, because we're all a part of the whole picture, I would think.
When do you think that this holographic invasion will be taking place?
Well, it's hard to say, but, with this added branch of service that we have now that they brag about, Space Force, with all this protection we supposedly have from outside forces or whatever, and all this technology they boast about, how can they not know what these objects actually are?
Yeah, the funny part is if these visitors can traverse time and space, I don't think our weaponry will really be of any threat to them.
Right. Well, another sign that they will intervene is the fact that UFOs have been spotted over nuclear silos in different military bases worldwide.
Sure, especially over in Malmstrom Air Force Base, and that was reported in death by Captain Robert Salas.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now they have the technology where they can cut the power to the nuclear weapons, and it takes the military 24 hours to reboot the system back to firing status. So that tells me they're going around doing their dry runs to make sure that their technology is in place to prevent a nuclear holocaust.
Jim, we're coming down to the final 4 minutes of the show. Again, thank you so much. And before we go, I'd like to get your opinion on the Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch, yes. I believe there's a lot of paranormal activity in that area. It's sort of like, that maybe there's a portal in that area where, it's not really known, but different spirits and whatnot can traverse through and from that portal.
And your opinion on Area 51?
Oh, yeah, that's legit. I mean, they've been trying to cover that up for years.
Jim, what are your final thoughts, words of wisdom? What message would you like to share with the X-Zone Nation tonight and the listeners of Classic 1220 CFAJ?
Well, you have to have faith. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to first believe in yourself before you can believe in anything else around you. Have faith that all will be well, and all will be well. And as I've said, my opinion is that life is a journey to be experienced, not a problem to be solved.
What's next for you, Jim? What are you planning?
Well, I just go from day to day. I'm retired now. I do my healing sessions. I keep myself busy. And basically, I'm only one individual that can, do what he enjoys doing and just go with the flow.
If somebody would like to contact you for a private healing session, Jim, how can they do that?
Well, I can give you my telephone number or my email address, or they can contact me on Facebook or on my website.
All right. Jim, quickly, what do you think about all these different reality shows that that, for example, ancient aliens and UFO seekers, are they an asset to people like yourself who have had legitimate encounters and are channeling the ETs, or are they making a mockery of something that is very serious?
Well, I believe that, they can be channeled. I believe that's a possibility. It's hard for anybody to believe anything unless they've experienced it themselves. So, it depends on the individual. See, everybody is in search of the truth, but there are many truths. The truth lies within what each individual conceives as being their truth.
And the truth to some people is not what they want to hear or see. It's a weapon that they are very afraid of.
Well, like they say, the hardest pill to swallow is truth itself.
All right, Jim, do me a favor. Give us all your contact information one more time, please.
Okay, I have a Facebook group page, the Alien Connection Truth Network on Facebook. My website is JimAndre, JIMANDRE.net. And, of course, my regular Facebook page, Jim Andre on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, which is now X.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can be contacted through them venues.
Jim, thank you for your time, and I truly look forward to the next time that you and I have the opportunity to meet here in the X Zone. Until then, take care, my friend.
And you as well. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, sir. Exonation, my guest this hour has been Jim Andre, and if you'd like to contact Jim, go to his website. I think would be the easiest for you here listening tonight at www.jimandre.net. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario. You're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on Classic 1220 CFAJ, and their website is www.classic1220.ca. I'll be back on the other side as next we meet here in the X Zone.
Before I say another word, let me tell you I love you. Let me hold you close and say these words as